What's up, everyone? It's Wild Pro Games, and I'm back this time with a Danger Unchained deck profile. This is for DTM format, so if you want to know more about it, I'll leave a link to the website down in the description. Let's get started. Starting off with the monsters, you got the Bomber Unchained Soul. It's your main boss, where it has a nice effect where it allows you to discard a card to destroy any card your opponent controls. Uh, then you have the Unchained Soul Disaster. It's mostly just a body and then has a nice effect where when it's destroyed, you get to special summon it Unchained from the grave. Then you have the Unchained Soul Shavara. It's a good card so you can get a body out field, and when it's sent from field to grave, you get to set a Unchained trap or spell. Then Unchained Soul of Shayama. Again, a nice card to get a body outfield, and it does have some back removal effects. Then we have the Unchained Twin Sarama, important card of the deck since it allows you to reset your Unchained cards and then destroy another card, which you mostly want to destroy your Unchained, and so you can get their effects. And then we have Unchained Twins Rakia and Aruha. Mostly in the deck just so you can get their destruction effects, and that they're not really used for anything else. And as for the danger, there's Danger Bigfoot, Nessie, Thunderbird, Dogman, Mothman, Chupacabra, and Jackalope. You mostly just want them to get discarded for their discard effects. You don't really want them on field, but it would be nice since you can get a body and draw a card. Mostly just support for the deck. Next, you have Radiant, the multi-dimensional kaiju. Good card to help get rid of your opponent's monsters. And then you have Diabolica, the Dragon General. It's a good card to get some recurrence, since when it's sent to the grave by card effect, you can add a fiend from your grave back to your hand. And also has a nice effect where when a fiend is destroyed, it brings itself back from the grave. Then we have Torgai from the Underworld. Good card to help bring out your Unchained Twins, or Sangan, which is the next card. And finally, you have the Red Time Reviver Emitter and Level Eater. You're not really going to use these cards, though they are good to help you go into some synchro plays. And next, for the spells, you have Abomination's Prison. Good normal spell to help search out for your Unchained cards. And then you have Dark World Dealings, Graceful Charity, and Power Greed. Just to have some nice draw in the deck. Then you have Dark Hole, Final Bringer of the End Times. It's good to have some destruction, and it helps to proc your Unchained monsters effects. And then you have Droplet, just to have some negate in the deck. And then you have Super Poly to help you get rid of monsters on your opponent's side of the field. And then Ultimate Slayer, again, to help get rid of monsters on your opponent's field. Then we have Dark Sanctuary. That could break sometimes, which is why you want to run this, since it does provide some level protection. And Pot of Avarice just helps get some reoccurrence by shuffling your monsters back to the deck. That's it for the spells. And next, for the traps, you have the Bama Chamber of the Unchained. It's a monster reborn for your Unchained monsters, or you can just summon them from your hand. And it has a nice effect where if it's destroyed by a set, you get special summon Unchained from the deck. Next, Escape of the Unchained. It's another Final Bringer of End Times, just more specifically for the Unchained archetype, and it has the same destruction effect as Chamber. And then you have Dawn Tribute for some destruction, and Crush Card Virus, and Deck Devastation Virus, just to help get rid of monsters on your opponent's side field. Then next trap is Archfiend's Glassy Gitch. Again, just to get rid of stuff out of your opponent's field. And you'll mostly want to send Diabolica or Shayama, depending on your situation. And then you have Dark Bribe and Lost Wind, again for some more negates. And then finally Jar of Aris for some recards, this time for any of your cards in grave. And then moving on to extra deck, we have Prepare Plant Ritovertum and Starving Venom. These are some of your super poly targets. Then we also have Mud Dragon and Garura. Again, more super poly targets. So with Garura, sometimes you might want to send it with Ultimate Slayer. And we also have Elder Entity Entius and Blazing Bombardment Beast. Another two cards that you could use to fire for Ultimate Slayer. And then as for the synchros, you have Ravenous Crocodile and Arceus, Ancient Fairy Life Dragon, Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend. It's really good synchro to go into since you can get rid of your opponent's monsters and also possibly even use the effects of your Unchained monsters. They have Groza, Cyrus Quantum, Infinity, Doom, Marchfiend, Star Charge Warrior, and then also High Speed Chambara. The final card being Golden Cloud Beast Malong. It's just another card to use as fodder for Ultimate Slayer. And as for the tiers of the deck, you have the A tiers being Level Eater, Polygree, and Graceful. And as for B, you have Dark Bribe, Super Poly, and Danger Nessie, Danger Mothman, and Danger Jackalope. I will be showing a test hand just so you can get an idea of what to do. Usually in the format, it's standard to do a half cut and then 5 off the top. And then for a starting hand, we have Unchained Tanzaruha, Danger Dogman, Crush Card Virus, Arching Classic Itch, and Danger Nessie. For a deck you would mostly want to go second, so for a 6 card it will be the Escape of the Unchained. It's not a bad starting hand, so what you want to do here is you want to set the Arching Classic Itch and Escape of the Unchained, and then you will either you'll most likely end up using Danger Nessie's effect first and seeing, and then assuming they do hit the Nessie, you will use effect to then search for the Danger Jackalope. Then once again, you use Jackalope's effect, but this time you will hope for them to use Danger Dogman, because then you would want to summon the Jackalope just so you have a target for Crush card and get that extra draw. And then since I did go through the deck, you have to shuffle again. And then the card you would draw for Jackalope would be Rakia. And with this, you would essentially want to use a Rua's effect, destroying the Escape of the Unchained. proccing its effect to then summon and the Unchained Twin Sarama, and then you will use Sarama's effect, resetting the escape and destroying the Ruha to use his destruction effect, and then and then summon the Obama Unchained Soul, and depending on what your opponent has, you will use its effect to destroy whatever you believe is their most dangerous card that they could have. And then you will simply just go battle phase, attack, deal any damage you can, and then just pass. And this is good because then you have 2 destruction cards, and then, well, 3, since Crush card destroys any monster your opponent controls or in their hand with 1500 or more attack. That's a pretty good starting hand. That's what it is. And it's not the most competitive, but it is a very fun deck, and I hope you guys enjoy it. But that is it for this deck profile, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.